Protocol, Arduino IDE, basic commands in IDE, and we will also be showing two projects using Tinkercad online simulation and a few of the projects using Arduino breadboard and sensors. And at the end of the session, we'll be having a doubt clearing session. So if you have any doubts regarding the session, you can freely ask us. So let us start this exciting session, and I hope you all enjoy and learn many new things. So the first topic we will be knowing today is IoT, and this is one of the most important topic, I would say. So there's a lot of noise at the moment about the Internet of Things or IoT, and its impact on everything from the way we travel and do our shopping to the way manufacturers keep track of inventory. But what is Internet of Things and how does it work? And is it really that important that we need to talk about it and discuss about it? IoT basically refers to any system of physical devices that receives and transfer data over wireless networks with limited human intervention. This is made possible by integrating compute devices in all kind of objects. Nowadays, as we know, we can connect everyday objects like kitchen appliances, our mobile phones, cameras, washing machines, thermostats, even baby monitors to internet through embedded systems. As a result, seamless communication is being possible between people, processes, and things. As we know that nowadays daily use objects can be connected to internet. As a result, easy communication and things are becoming more comfortable to be used. All this thing is possible because of IoT. Now, IoT requires sensors, actuators to form a link between the physical and the digital world. To connect like daily objects to the internet, we need certain things which will help in the connection. So the two most important things we will be knowing about now is the microprocessor and the microcontroller. So now you guys have all joined the session, I hope through the laptops or whatever. So the computer you are using to join this session is using a microprocessor to do its work. The microprocessor basically is the heart of any normal computer, whether it is a desktop machine, a server, or a laptop. A microprocessor is an electronic component that is used by a computer to do its work. And basically, it's the central processing unit or a single integrated circuit chip containing millions of very small components, including transistors, resistors, and diodes to work together. Microprocessor helps to do everything from controlling elevators to searching in the web. Everything a computer does is described by instructions of the computer program, and the microprocessor carries out these instructions many millions of times a second. Now we got to know about the microprocessor. So next one is the microcontroller. Basically, microprocessor and microcontroller are best friends. Microprocessor follows the microcontroller. Microcontroller acts as the heart of any embedded system. The microcontroller has played a fundamental, I would even say a very dominant role in the technological revolution that has shaped modern life. Microcontrollers are small and they are very versatile, inexpensive devices that can be successfully implemented and programmed not only by experienced electrical engineers but even by students, professionals from any other disciplines. So we basically got to know about the microprocessor and the microcontroller, and I think you might have like, okay, both seems the same, but they are very different. So now let's see the difference between the microcontroller and the microprocessor. So the first one is microprocessor. It acts as the heart of any computer system. On the other hand, microcontroller acts as the heart of any embedded system. In microprocessors, the memory and the input-output components are connected externally. On the other hand, in microcontroller, the memory and the input-output components are present internally. Microprocessors can't be used in a compact system as the circuit is quite large. On the other hand, you can use a microcontroller in a compact system. Microprocessor, the cost of the entire system is quite high for a microprocessor as the circuit is huge, and for the microcontroller the cost is less. And the main thing is that microprocessor is mainly used for personal computers, laptops, and any PC system. On the other hand, microcontrollers can be used for embedded systems like washing machines, MP3 players, and any embedded system. So now the question goes to the audience. You can see two images on the screen. Among this, which system uses a microprocessor and which one uses a microcontroller? You can unmute yourself and you can even use the chat.
Laptop is using the microprocessor, and
Laptop uses the microprocessor, and the air conditioner use the microcontroller.
microcontroller, yes.
Okay, that's amazing. You were really quick. So as I mentioned earlier, the laptop is using a microprocessor and the AC on the other hand is an embedded system. So it uses the microcontroller. So both of you amazing for answering. Now, as we talked about microcontroller, microprocessor, IoT, so now we will be knowing about two very important connection boards. The first one is the breadboard. So don't consider it as a bread. The name is a breadboard. So breadboard basically is a rectangular board. As we can see here, it's a rectangular board with many mounting holes. As we can see, there are many holes present in the breadboard. And they are used basically for creating an electrical connection between the components and the single board computer or the microcontrollers, such as an Arduino and a Raspberry Pi. The vertical columns here, the vertical columns of the breadboards are known as the terminals, and while the horizontal ones, as we can see, the horizontal ones are known as the power rails. Positive rails, here is the positive rails are indicated by the red line, while the negative ones are indicated by the black line or the blue line. So the connections which we do in the breadboard aren't permanent and they can be removed and placed again. In fact, you can even replace the components to customize your project or work on a completely different one using the same breadboard. So the positive thing about the breadboard is that we can remove components, add new components, modify the project, and do a completely different project using the same breadboard. Now, looking at this thing, can anyone guess what I will be talking about next? I know it looks quite weird, but I will be now talking about signals.
Signals, you will be talking about.
Okay, wow, that's great. Thank God you got to know about it. So as we talked about microprocessors and microcontrollers, so when we are executing any instruction, we need the microprocessor to access the memory for reading the instruction, the codes basically, and the data stored in the memory. For this, both the memory and the microprocessor require some signals to read and write or register. So what is signals? They are communicating. So what is the main thing? So the first thing, that signal is an electromagnetic or electrical current that is used for carrying data from one system, or I can say one network, to another. It is basically a function that conveys any sort of information about a phenomenon. As we are going to talk about Arduino, we will be basically discussing about two important signals which are mostly used in the Arduino board. The first one is the analog signal, as we can see here, the analog signal, and then the digital signals. So now let's, whenever we get two things, we like to know the difference between both of them. So let us know what is analog signal and what is digital signal. So analog signal is a continuous signal. As we can see the graph, analog signals are showing continuous graphs. On the other hand, digital signals are discrete signals, means they are having values at certain points. Analog signals are denoted by sine waves. We all know the sine graph. So this is the sine graph, which is continuous. On the other hand, it is the digital signals is denoted by the square wave. Analog signals take time to be stored in a finite memory, as it is having a finite memory thing. On the other hand, digital signals can easily be stored. Analog signal uses continuous range of values for representing information. We can, as looking at the graph, we can understand is having values continuously for all interval of times. And on the other hand, digital signals use discrete, I would say like 0 and 1 to represent all the information. Analog signals have a lower bandwidth and digital signals have a higher bandwidth. In analog signals, we can notice more observation error. Whenever we plot a graph, like this sort of graph, we have a tendency of making mistakes. Similarly, analog signals also has more observational error than the digital signals. Digital signals have minimum observational errors. Why? As we can see, these points are very discrete. We are having values at certain points. As a result, the values are the errors are minimum. And where do we use analog signals? Analog signals are like, we can use it for audio, video transmission. On the other hand, digital signals can be used, are more suited, I would say, for computing and digital electronics. Now, again, the question goes to the audience. What is an Arduino? Like anyone, what comes to your mind when I say the term Arduino? It's fine if you don't know and you just can guess out and say something. Anyone?
It's a microcontroller.
Okay, microcontroller is present in an Arduino. It's not a microcontroller.
It's an
Anyone?
integrated chip.
It's a microcontroller which can be coded to serve a specific purpose.
Yeah, okay. That also says something. So I would say that Arduino basically is an open source hardware and software company. It is a company, but we are telling as an Arduino board, which is a development board. So Arduino boards are like able to read inputs, as you said. It takes information, it reads inputs can be of any sort. Okay, it's not always like code. It can be like light on a sensor, fingers on a button, or a Twitter message. And those inputs which we send to the Arduino is converted into output. Output can be like activating a motor, turning on a LED, publishing something online. Any input which we give to the Arduino, we will get the desired output which we want. You can basically tell the board what to do by sending a set of instructions to the microcontroller. As someone said, microcontroller is present in the Arduino board. So basically to do so, you use the Arduino programming language, which we will be doing in a while. That will be coming in the session very soon. Well, whoever said about the Arduino, it's correct. Microcontroller is present in the Arduino. It is a part of Arduino. So we got to know the basics of Arduino. Now let's see a few types of Arduino, the most commonly used Arduino. The first one is the Arduino Mega R3 or Arduino Mega 2560. It is a microcontroller board based on Atomega 2560. It has a total of 54 pins. As we can see, it has total of 54 pins present, out of which 15 can be used as PWM outputs, 16 as analog inputs. And Arduino Mega R3 is the big brother of Arduino Uno R3. This is Arduino Uno R3. This is like the, I would say the bigger version of Arduino Uno R3. So Arduino Uno R3 is also a microcontroller board based on Atomega 328P. It has 14 digital input-output pins, out of which 6 can be used as PWM outputs. 6 can be used as analog inputs. It contains everything which is required to support a microcontroller. Basically, we can simply connect it to the computer with a USB cable or power it with a AC, DC adapter or battery and just simply get started. And the third one is the Nano. As the term says, Nano refers to the smallest. So Arduino Nano microcontroller board, it is based on Atomega 328. It has total of 14 digital, it has a total of 22 digital input-output pins, 6 pins for PWM output, total 8 analog input-output pins. It is the smallest, as the term says, Arduino Nano. So it's the smallest, complete breadboard friendly. But the only thing which is missing here is the power jack. So I hope you got the 3 Arduinos which I mentioned is clear to you all. So while explaining, anyone has a doubt or something?
Yeah, what is the full form of PWM?
Yeah, PWM basically stands for pulse width modulation, and I will be explaining that part very soon. It is like after I explain the different parts, I'll be going to PWM also, and you will be clear about it.
What is the meaning of open source with regard to Arduino?
I didn't get your question.
What is the meaning of open source with regard to Arduino?
See, like what like as I said, that Arduino board is basically getting the information what we are sending. So it is an open source. It's getting all the data which we are sending and getting the desired output in that way. Now this is basically the complete Arduino board. There are many parts, like as someone said, this microcontroller present here, and I have mentioned about the pins and everything. So now let us know about the different parts, the different components which are present in the Arduino board, because while explaining the types of Arduino, I have mentioned quite a few terms like power jack, USB connector. So we need to know each function of each part of the Arduino board. So let us see that. The first one is the USB plug. This is basically a printer USB port used to load a program from the Arduino IDE onto the Arduino board. The board can also be powered through this port. So this is basically the powering port of the Arduino. The second one is the power port. The Arduino board can be powered through an AC or a DC adapter or a battery. The power source can be controlled by plugging in a 2.1 millimeter, that is for the Arduino Uno board, positive plug into the power jack of the board. We can power the Arduino board both through the USB plug as well as the power port. And the third one, basically, which is the most important part, is the microcontroller. As I've said before, you can tell your board what to do by sending a set of instructions to the microcontroller on the board. It is the most prominent, as we can see, it's a rectangular structure. Most prominent black rectangular chip with 28 pins. Think of it as the brain of the Arduino. The entire Arduino is the body, and the microcontroller is the brain of the Arduino system. The microcontroller used in Uno board is Atomega 328P, as I have mentioned earlier, and it is by Atmel. It is a major microcontroller manufacturer. The fourth one is the analog input pins. So I have used that analog signal is very important for the Arduino board. So these pins basically read the analog signals. The Arduino Uno board has total of 6 analog pins. As we can see, it's labeled from 0 to 5. These pins can read signals from an analog sensor. Analog sensors can be like temperature sensor, and convert these signals into digital value so that the system understands what the code has been sent to it. These pins just measure voltage and not the current, because these have very high internal resistance. Hence, only a very small amount of current flows through these pins, as it follows the Ohm's law. We all know that. The fifth one is the digital pins. As I've mentioned that the Arduino board reads 2 kinds of signals. One is the analog and the digital. So these pins are responsible for the digital signals. You can find these pins labeled from 0 to 13, as we can see 0 to 13. These pins can be used as either an input or an output pins. When used as an output, these pins act as a power supply source for the components connected to them. When used as an input pins, they read the signals from the components connected to them. And the sixth one is the reset switch, which is red in color. When this switch is clicked, it sends a logical pulse to the reset pin of the microcontroller, and now it runs the program again from the beginning. This can be very useful if you are able, if your code doesn't repeat, but you wanted to test it multiple times. If you want to retry your code many times, the reset switch is the best for using that time. The seventh one is the crystal oscillator. This is silver in color. This is a quartz crystal oscillator which ticks 16 million times a second. On each tick, the microcontroller performs one operation. And like, as I said, Arduino board can perform any work which we tell. The work can be in the form of like addition, subtraction, multiplication, just mention it. The eighth one is the USB interface chip. Think of this as the interpreter of the Arduino board. It is a signal translator. It converts the signals in the USB level to a level that the Arduino Uno board can understand. And the last one, the ninth one, is the TX-RX LEDs. TX-RX stands for the receiving and transmitting pins of the Arduino, and it is used for serial communication. TX and RX LED are connected to pin number 0 and 1. Thus, whenever the Arduino sends or receives data over the serial pins, the LED connected to the RX and the TX pins will be blinking respectively. So these are the different parts which are present in the Arduino board, which helps the Arduino board to perform the desired function which we want. Now, as someone had mentioned earlier, what is PWM? So PWM stands for pulse width modulation, which is a process to control the average power supplied by the electrical signal. It is a method in which the digital outputs are used to control the analog devices. It is a technique by which the width of a pulse is varied while keeping the frequency of the wave constant. Using PWM, the average power which is applied to the load is controlled by turning or the switch which that stands basically between the load and the supply. PWM doesn't offer any true analog output. It mostly provides a power in pulses instead. This means that you won't be getting current continuously delivered to the load. You will be receiving power in the form of pulse. As we can see the graph, it is having a discrete value graph. So current won't be continuous in this way. Now we need to know the term duty cycle. Duty cycle refers to the total power applied to the load, which is directly proportional to the time in which the switch remains turned on. The percentage of the digital signal in which it is turned on is called as the duty cycle. Thus, controlling the on phase of the digital signal over a consistent time interval controls the average voltage that is applied to the device. The time duration at which the pulse remains in the on and off state is called as the width of the pulse wave. So we can see for the 50% duty cycle, the width is this much. And like for the 75%, it is on for this period of time. So current is being supplied for this period of time. So where do we basically use PWM? This technique is used in controlling a servo motor, the brightness of LED, speed control of a DC motor, or basically you have to get analog when we want analog output with any digital means. So here, according to this picture, we can see Arduino Uno has 6 to 8 PWM channels, and these pins are represented by the symbol tilde. As we can see, there's one symbol in front, which basically shows that these pins will be supporting the PWM. Now we got to know about Arduino, microcontroller, microprocessor, IoT, the different parts of an Arduino. So now we need to know the coding part or the Arduino IDE part, that how will the Arduino function? How will we give the instructions to the Arduino? So this part will be taken by my friend Swayam. I will tell Swayam to take over the session now.
Okay, good evening, guys. So I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
So my first question today I request everyone to mute ourselves. Okay, so for the first question for everyone is that what is a communication protocol? Has anyone heard about the word communication protocol? Okay, so let me say. So communication protocol is a system of rules that allow two or more entities of a communication system to transmit information via any kind of variation of a physical quantity. So for example, if you are using your Arduino board to make a particular project and you are connecting it to your laptop, so the communication which happens between your Arduino board and laptop, it follows a particular communication protocol, which I'll be discussing further. So some very basic types of communication protocols are, first is the serial peripheral interface or the SPI communication protocol. It is a synchronous serial communication interface used for short distance communication. SPI is called a 4-wire serial bus, and it is a part of a master slave network. So as you can see that there are two parts, that is the master and the slave. So it is a master slave network, and it has a 4-wire serial bus. As you can see, the 4 wires are the MOSI pin, MISO pin, the clock signal, and the slave select / chip select pin. So the data, the master sends the data to slave along the MOSI line, which is the master out slave input. It receives data from the slave along the MISO line, that is the master in slave output. and the master outputs the clock signal to the slave. And one of the very important role of master part is that it along the slave select / chip select pin is that it switches the SS/CS pin to low voltage so that the data can be transferred along the master to the slave network and then to the receiver. So in this type of communication protocol, as you can see that there are two very important pins, MOSI and MISO. So in serial peripheral interface, both MOSI and MISO pins can be used simultaneously to send/receive data. Hence, this type of communication protocol is also known as a full duplex communication protocol. The next type of communication protocol which I would be talking about is the universal asynchronous receiver/transmitter, or the UART communication protocol. It is a hardware communication protocol that uses asynchronous serial communication with configurable speed. So here asynchronous means that there is no clock signal to synchronize input bits. Only two wires are required, that is the TX and RX, where TX stands for transmitter and RX stands for the receiver. So the transmitting UART, that is a UART1, it converts the parallel data from controlling device like CPU or a microcontroller into microprocessor into a serial form. Then it transmits it in serial to the receiving UART, that is a UART2 along this TX RX line, which then converts the serial data back into parallel data for the receiving device. Instead of the clock signal, what does the UART does is it adds start or stop bits to the data packet being transferred. So for example, if a packet is being transferred from the transmitter pin to the receiver pin of the UART2, two bits are added at the start and the end of the data packet, which define the beginning and end of the data packet. So the receiving UART, that is the UART2, knows when to start reading the packet. The next type of communication protocol which I will be talking about is the inter-integrated circuit, or the I2C communication protocol. It is a bus interface connection protocol incorporated into devices for serial communication. You can connect multiple slaves to a single master and have multiple masters controlling single or multiple slaves. It also uses only two wires to transmit data between devices, that is the SDA and the SCL wire, where SDA stands for the serial data and SCL stands for serial clock. So I2C combines one of the best features of both SPI and UARTs. Hence, this is one of the very basic communication protocol which is often preferred. Also, it is a synchronous communication protocol just like SPI. So now a question comes to the audience. Can you tell the difference between SPI and I2C? Like a very basic difference between SPI and I2C communication protocol.
The SPI uses 4 wires and the I2C uses only 2 wires.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Dikshant. So the next communication protocol I'm talking about is the MQTT, that is the message queuing telemetry transport. It is a lightweight publish-subscribe network protocol that transmits messages between devices. The protocol usually runs over TCP, that is the transmission control protocol, /IP, that is the internet protocol. It can also run over any network protocol that provides ordered, lossless, and bidirectional connections. So this is what I wanted to talk about communication protocol. These are some basic communication protocols. Now let us move to the next part, that is the Arduino IDE. So can someone tell what is the full form of IDE?
Interface
Integrated
development.
development environment.
Yeah. So both Aryan and Atindro, you were absolutely correct. Arduino IDE stands for the Arduino Integrated Developed Environment. Now let me show you the basic layout of Arduino IDE. So this is how Arduino. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a doubt. Can I like ask it right now or?
Yeah, can you please put it in the chat box.
All right.
Okay. So this is one of the basic layout of Arduino IDE. So as you can see that this is the part where we write our main code. It is also known as a sketch. Here there is an upload button. So what we do is we connect the hardware Arduino board to our laptop using a USB cable, which is put into one of the communication ports of the laptop. So as I said that when we connect the USB cable to the communication port, the communication happens using a particular communication protocol, and hence this upload button, the main role of this upload button is that whenever you write a code in this main sketch, this button is used to upload the code into our Arduino so that the project or the basic thing which you are making related to the Arduino can work. Now there are some other basic things in Arduino IDE which will be helpful for beginners. Like if you go to File and Examples, here are some very basic built-in examples like switching on LED using a push button and using different kind of sensors, and it also uses different display commands, etc. Then now whenever you use Arduino IDE, the first thing you have to check is you need to go to tools and you need to go to the board here. So as Mehak told that there are many type of Arduino boards, one of them being Arduino Mega R3, Arduino Uno R3, Arduino Nano, etc. So if you are connecting Arduino Uno to your laptop, so you need to select the board Arduino Uno from here. Then you need to go to the port. So what port here means is that the port means a communication port which you are using to connect the Arduino to your laptop. So each device has around 5 communication ports, COM1 to COM5. So COM1 and COM2 are basically reserved for the hardware communication ports, and COM3, 4 and 5 are available for the ports which are reserved for connecting the Arduino. So this is what you need to check whenever you run the program. And then the symbol which you can see here in the right corner, it is known as a serial monitor. So serial monitor is used to directly communicate with the Arduino. It is also used as a debugging tool or testing out concepts. Then here you can see in the bottom that this is a window is seen. So this window is known as the output window. So whenever you run the code, any error which you are getting will be displayed here, or even if the code is successful, it will be displayed that your code is successful, and you can directly see the output in the Arduino board. Now, I hope you can see this in the top bottom corner. It is written Arduino Uno on COM5. This means that your Arduino Uno is connected to communication port 5. So this is what is the basic layout of Arduino IDE. Now I'll again go back to the slides. Okay, so now I'll be talking about some basic commands which are used in Arduino IDE, and I'll also be using them in the further 2 projects which we are going to do today. So some of the basic commands are, first is digital read, that is that reads a specific value from a specific pin. So my friend had already told that there are some amount of digital and analog pins present in the Arduino board, and you connect your devices to the Arduino board using those pins which establish a connection, and hence the project works. So basically in the digital read part, you need to mention the pin here, pin number. So for example, if I'm connecting my LED to pin number 9, so what will digital read do is, I need to write digital read 9. So it will read whether the LED is giving an output or not, or whether it is high or low. The next command is digital write, which takes its input as pin, the value. That value varies between high or low. So this command is used to give value to a specific pin. Considering the same example, if I connect an LED and I want it to be switched on, so I'll write digital write 9, high. This means that the device which is connected to pin number 9 will automatically switch on according to the given condition. The next command is the pin mode, or which takes input as pin, mode. So the pin mode command configures the specified pin to behave either as input or output. So if you use an LED in your program, it is obvious that you are using it to get an output. So the main thing which you will write in the first part is that pin mode, pin number, that is I'm considering it as pin number 9. So 9, output. This means that whatever device is connected to pin number 9, it is configured to give an output. The next command is delay. In some programs, we need to delay the program for some particular amount of time to get the required output. So we use the delay command. For example, if I say that we write the command delay of 1000, this means that the program will be delayed by 1000 milliseconds. Now, as I told you about serial monitor, which is used for directly communicating between the Arduino and our device. So to switch on the serial monitor, we use the command serial.begin of speed, which sets the data rate in bits per second. That is also known as the baud rate for serial data transmission. So it starts the serial monitor and it easily allows the data which is coming from the Arduino to be displayed on our device. So the speed is always an integral multiple of 4800. For example, you can write serial.begin 4800, 9600, 19200, etc. But one of the basic thing which we use here is serial.begin 9600. The next command is serial.println. So as you know that we always use two commands to get an output, that is we use one command, that is the print command, but here we have another command, that is the println. So the basic difference between print and println is that the print command, it prints data to serial port as ASCII text, which is easily readable by humans. But what does serial.println do is that it also adds a new line character at the end. So this can be very helpful for writing some programs. Hence, this is the main difference between serial.println and serial.print. Now I'll be taking you through some of the online simulation platforms which we use if you don't have an Arduino hardware board in your house. So we can use these platforms for making some basic projects. One of those platforms is Autodesk Tinkercad. So I'll provide the link of this. So I request everyone to please open this website and sign in using your Google account. You can see how I'm doing here. I'll click on sign in, then I'm sign in with Google. So this is what is the basic layout of the Autodesk Tinkercad. Has everybody signed into the website? Please either tell by unmuting yourself or put it in the chat box.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, done.
Okay. So
Yes.
you all can see this layout, right? So the Autodesk Tinkercad, it is used for making 3D designs, circuit lessons, etc. But we have to make only circuits. So we'll be using the only the circuit part. Now, so the first basic project which we are going to make today is switching on and off an LED using the push button. So I hope that many of the students, many of the friends who are here must have done coding in 11th and 12th. Can you please reply if you have done coding in your 11th and 12th standard, like some basic
Yes.
CS/IT subjects?
Yes.
Yes.
So we all know that whenever we write a code, before that we always write an algorithm. So there are some friends also who have not done coding. So I'll tell what is an algorithm or a pseudo code. It is basically a simpler form of the program which you are going to write. So that form can be used for your understanding. For example, now I am going to write a program that is switching on and off an LED using the push button. So now I'll be writing its algorithm or the pseudo code. So the first part will be obviously Arduino board, that is the Arduino Uno R3. Then we'll be connecting a push button to the Arduino board. Now for switching on and off LED, there will always be two conditions. For example, if the button is pressed, that means the LED is on. And if the button is not pressed, that means the LED is off. So again, a question for all the students who have done coding or who have some experience in coding. If I give you two conditions and I tell you to check between themselves which one is working and which one is not, which command do you use?
Yes and else.
Yes.
Absolutely correct. So we'll be using the if-else command to check whether the button is pressed or not, and accordingly we'll get an output in the LED. So I request you all to please come back to the Tinkercad and create a new circuit here. So as you can see, Tinkercad really gives some strange names to its files. So we can change the name here from clicking on it and keep it as LED on/off. Now from here you can search all the components. So the main component which you are going to use is the Arduino Uno R3, which I'll place it here. Then we'll be using the breadboard for connecting devices like the push button and LED to a circuit. Then I'll be taking a push button, which I'll be connecting like this to the breadboard. I'll be taking an LED. I'll be connecting the LED like this. Also, I'll be taking a resistor to connect to the LED. Can anybody tell me what is the basic function of a resistor? Like you must have learned in 11th, 12th.
To obstruct the
Oppose the
flow of
current.
current.
Yeah,
Control
so
the
basically it is a
flow.
current
Reduces the
limiting
flow of
device.
the current.
Flow of current.
So it is a current limiting device, right? So for the same use, we are using the Arduino, the resistor here to limit the current so that the LED does not get heated much and it doesn't burst. So we are using a resistor here for that purpose. Now I'll be telling you how to make the connections. So this is a
Hello.
breadboard. Yeah.
Can you please go a bit slow? We have to do it parallelly.
Yeah. I'll be showing you the circuit now, so that will be better. So
We have to do simultaneously with you,
yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, wait.
Should I continue? Is everybody has everybody selected the?
How did you add the Arduino board?
Yeah, you can select it from here. Arduino Uno R3. Just type in Arduino here in the component section.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, can you please like start over like from the page because I just got lost.
Okay. So should I like log out and log in again, or?
Yes, please. I know like this page right there. It's showing just one thing like start a circuit, something like that.
Yeah. So first I'll sign in. You signed in using a Google account, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So now in the left hand side, 3 parts will be showing 3D design circuit code blocks, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So click on circuits.
Just a minute. Okay.
Now click on this button, create new circuit.
Okay.
So now you can see the
Maya,
screen.
my net is quite slow, so you have to go a little slow, please.
Yeah.
Okay, it shows something.
Does this show the screen?
It does.
Yeah. So
But
now
on the right side, like
Yeah.
different components are there. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
yeah, you need to select the component from here, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So first you will search Arduino. That is this Arduino Uno R3.
Okay.
Then you need to select the breadboard. Then you need to select the push button and place it like this.
Kindly wait.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
When we apply the push button, like does it need to be at the same place you are applying, or like
Yeah,
one
this
of the
it's like this is one of the most basic push button place which we use for connecting to it. It's like always preferable to connect your push button like this.
So like should I count like 7?
No. That is not at all required. You can place it anywhere in the breadboard, but just like
Just in
this.
the middle.
Yeah, you can place it anywhere as you want.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
How do I make the screen smaller?
Yeah, you
Because
need
it's
to-
too enlarged.
Just use the this roller of the mouse and just turn it back so it will be reduced.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So I hope you have done till here.
Yes, that's a push button, right?
Yes, Mr. Ankit
And-
Jaswal, are you done till here?
Yeah, I'm done with the
Okay.
push button. No
Okay.
worries.
Now connect the Arduino. Now connect the LED anywhere in the circuit. You can connect it here, anywhere you want to. Now connect the resistor here to this part. So I wanted to say one thing about the LED. In this Tinkercad platform, it shows that there are two sides of LED. One is the shorter side and one is the longer side, which has a fold. So here in the Tinkercad platform, what does it take? It takes the longer side as the anode, that is the positive part, and the shorter side as the cathode, that is the negative part. Okay. So you always need to connect the resistor to the positive part of the LED, and the negative part needs to be connected to the ground so that the circuit can be completed. So I'll connect
How
my
do I
LED.
rotate the resistor?
How do I rotate that?
See, you select the resistor, and here is a button. This near the delete sign.
Top left corner.
Yeah, you can rotate it. Okay.
Which
So-
button? Actually, I didn't saw.
Here.
Okay, fine.
This one. Okay. So you can now connect the resistor here, just like this. So is everybody done till here? Like, have you all placed the
Just
components?
wait for a second, just a second.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, we have done.
One doubt I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the breadboard, that A, B, C, D, E ray, that all five they are in series, no?
Which the breadboard. This one.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. This rail is connected to a single wire.
Okay.
This vertical rail.
And
And
in
in
the
the
bottom,
yeah, in the bottom, this whole rail is connected to a single wire.
okay.
So should I continue now?
Excuse me, like I have a doubt.
Yeah.
Can I ask a doubt?
Yeah.
Like why should we use breadboard? We can simply join like using wires. No, you can use wires and Tinkercad, right? So why should we use?
No, but see,
To avoid the complications.
yeah, exactly. Like the circuit will be a bit more complicated.
The voice is echoing.
Yeah, actually, Dinesh, it was okay. Now it's fine, right?
Yes.
So should I continue now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So as you can see that here are the digital pins of the Arduino board, and here is the after the pin 13 it is written G and D. You all can see, right? So G and D stands for ground.
Okay.
Now we know that to complete a circuit we need to connect the parts to the ground. Then only the circuit will be completed, right?
Yes.
So what I'll be doing is I'll be using this breadboard to its fullest. So one of my friend Dinesh asked right now ki why am I using a breadboard? So you will see now why am I using it. What I will do is I'll connect the ground to this pin here. Can anybody tell why I connected it here and what is the advantage of connecting this in the horizontal rail? At
The
bottom?
whole horizontal path conveys the same voltage, I guess.
Yes, so exactly, it's correct. So now this whole rail, that is the negative rail, acts as a ground. So what all devices which I am using here, I can directly connect it to this point. So directly all the devices will be connected to ground. Okay, so as I said, the negative part of the LED, I'll be taking it to ground. And for push button, there is no positive negative. You can connect any side to any part. So I'll be connecting this side to the ground. So now I have done the ground connections. Has everybody done till here?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the ground connections are done. Now I need to connect the devices to the particular pin. So what I'll be doing is, like, it's your choice. You can do it with any pin. I'll connect my LED to pin number 12 and my push button to pin number 2. So I'll be taking my push button to pin number 2 here. And now I want to connect
Can you
my,
please slow down a little?
yeah,
You're
yeah.
going too fast. Like by mistake, I joined the other two lines. How do I remove the line?
Yeah, just click on click on the line, this, and then click on delete. So it will be deleted.
Here pin number 3 is that D3.
Yeah, I'm connecting it to pin number 2. That is the D2 pin.
Okay, sorry. The vertical signals you are giving, in that case, so we can join from any pin, right? There's no specification that we have to join from this and that pin.
This means you are asking from this rail, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
yes, you can connect from any pin because we know that this rail is connected to a single wire, right?
Okay, thank you.
So you can take it from any. So has everybody connected button to pin number 2?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we need to connect the LED to one of the pins in Arduino board. So I have chosen pin number 12 for that. Now, can anybody guide me? How should I connect the LED to its particular pin? Like I need to connect it from the resistor. So
Yes.
should I do it from here or should I do it from here?
anode one. If
From
you do
this
it from
one.
the,
From below.
the row from the anode.
This one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, correct. So I'll connect my LED to pin number 12 here. Okay, so now the connections are done. Has everybody done the connections?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Like, does these numbers like 2D2 and the 12 portals, like
Yeah.
all these numbers mean something because we are connecting them to particular numbers?
No, that is just to keep the note of it. Like,
Yeah, that is just a pin number. You can connect to any pin.
All
If
right.
you want, you can connect to pin number 7, 6, 5, 4, any pin you want to.
All right.
All right, so I hope the connections are done now. Now I'll be moving on with the code part. So if you click on the code button, does this window is visible in your screen?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there are 3 parts in Tinkercad. That is the blocks plus text and text. Okay. So like for beginners, they use blocks because blocks has inbuilt functions and you can use it directly to switch on and off LED. But we won't be doing that. As I have already shown you the basic commands, we'll be using the text part. So after clicking on text, it will be asked, are you sure? Then you need to click on continue. So please tell yes if you have reached till here. I'll continue writing the code.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so this is one of the very basic command which Tinkercad already gives with the text part, so you can remove it. There is no need of it. Okay, so all this code is written in C++ coding language. So does anyone know C++ here?
No.
Like they. Okay, so
But I can understand that these are two functions.
yeah, exactly. So there are 2 functions, that is void setup and void loop. Now I'll tell you briefly about these 2 functions. So what does void setup do is, if you write a particular command in void setup, it will be run only once during the whole program. And loop, as the word loop suggests, that if you write a command in void loops function, the commands will be executed continuously during your program. Okay, so we'll be like, there are some basic commands fixed for void setup, which I'll be telling you now while writing the code. Okay, so as I told you that, first of all, we need to mention the pin number for all the devices which we have connected. Okay, so first we'll write constant of integer LED, which we have connected to pin number 12. Please remember that after every statement, a semicolon should be put because that is the one of the basic rule of the C++ programming. So this command means that the LED is connected to pin number 12. Is everybody clear with that?
Yes.
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 Okay. So now I'll mention the pin number for push button, that is pin number 2. And I'll be also taking one another variable, that is button state, let us say, which will be 0 for now. So I'll explain why I'm using this variable, but I had a question for you all. You must have seen that I'm using the word constant here for the 2 pins, but I'm not using the word constant here. Can anybody tell me what is the logic behind it?
Constant means it will
You want to make it
never
cannot
change.
change. Constant.
Yeah, so like this variable, that is the button state, can change, right?
Yes.
So what will
Yes.
button state do? It will store the values of the push button. That there can be only 2 values, right? Either high or low. So what will this variable do? It will store, and then using the if else condition, we'll check that if the button state it holds the value high, that means the LED is on, and if holds the value low, that means the LED is off. Okay, is everybody clear till here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so now I'll be writing the code in void setup area. There are only 2 commands for it. It's not at all confusing. You need to use the command pin mode. Now, can someone tell me what is the use of pin mode, or what does it take as input?
High or low?
No.
Pin and the
It checks if
Input
the
output.
thing we are connected is going to be an output or an input.
pin and the mode. output.
Absolutely correct. So we are using 2 devices here, right? So we'll be using 2 pin mode commands. One is for pin mode, that is LED output. LED is giving us an output, and another one which I'll be taking is the button, and I'll be using here input underscore pull up. So let me tell you what is input underscore pull up. I told you about input, right? So what does input underscore pull up does? It inverts the function of the input. So basically, there are some pull up resistors which are connected to the microcontroller. So when the circuit is high, that means the pull up resistor directly gets connected to the ground, and hence there is no output. But when the button is pressed, the circuit gets in the position low, and it directly connects to the 5-volt source, and hence the LED is switched on. So basically, it inverts the function of the input function. Did everybody get it?
Please repeat.
Okay,
Please
so
repeat.
what
Yeah,
does
please repeat.
So what does input pull up do? So for example, let me tell you one thing. What does input function do? For example, if the button is pressed, that means the button is high, LED is on. If the button is not pressed, the output is low and LED is off. But what does input pull up do? It just inverts the function. So when the button is high, when the button is pressed, that means the button state variable will get the value as low, and hence the LED will be high. This is because the input pull-up command, there are some amount of pull-up resistors which are present in the microcontroller. So what is the microcontroller which we are using in Arduino? Can anybody name it?
Arduino 328.
Atmega 328P. That is the name of the microcontroller which we are using. So it has some amount of pull-up resistors. So what does it do? That when the button is pressed, the pull-up resistors directly connect to the 5-volt voltage source, and hence it acts as low, and hence the LED is switched on. But when the button is not pressed, it directly connects to the ground. So when it's connected to the ground, that means no current is flowing through the circuit. That means it's acting high, and hence the LED is switched off. Is everybody clear now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, if you want, I can mention the use of the whole input pull-up command at the end of this session, so it will be more clear for you.
Yeah, that will be
better.
Yeah. So now I'll be writing code in the void loop area. Okay, this is like pin mode is the only command. Like pin mode is one of the basic commands which we write in void setup area. Because we know that we aren't going to run it in loop during the execution of our program. We only need once during the execution of our program, and that's why I have written it in void setup area. Okay. Now I'll be writing the code in void loop area. So the code will be, first of all, I'll need to take the value of the button from the circuit. So I'll be using button state is equals to. Now I need to get the value. So which command will I use?
Input.
No, I told you some basic commands, right?
Read.
Yeah, digital read. It's not only read, it's digital read. Like it's digital read for the digital pins and analog read for the analog pins. So I'll be using digital read. Okay. So digital read of button.
Are these things case sensitive?
Yeah, it's case sensitive. Yes. You need to mention the R as capital here. Okay. So what will this do? This will read the output coming from the button. Okay. If the button is high, that means the button state will take the output as high, and hence it will be used for further execution of the program. And similarly, if the button is low, then the same process will be followed. So has everybody done till here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So now, like many of my friends told that we'll be using the if-else condition. Right. So now we have the value button state, and we know that button state is storing values high or low. Okay. So now we'll use the if-else condition. So for if-else condition, we use if button state is equal to low. Now please remember that there will be no semicolon after the if and the else statements, because we need to mention the the statement under the if. So if you will mention the semicolon, it will take it as a statement, and hence you will need to write another statement, so the program will not run correctly. So there will be no semicolon after this if the button state is low. Okay, so I told you the function of input pull up, right? Now if the button state is low, what will the LED give as the output? Can anybody reply? Yeah,
High.
absolutely correct.
High.
Absolutely correct. So the LED will give the output as high. Now I'll be using the command digital write. You all know, right, why I am using the command digital write?
I don't know.
You have told earlier, but it's not striking right now in the mind.
So basically, what is the meaning of write? Meaning of write is you are writing something,
Writing down.
right?
The value is high or low, you use.
Yeah, exactly. So now we are telling the LED, like we are giving the value, we are giving the LED its value that it should be high. So we are writing to the LED that, okay, you should be high. So it will be LED, that is the pin, comma high. Okay, is it clear? Should I move ahead?
Yeah.
Then I'll be using the statement else. It will be else digital write LED comma. What should I write here?
Low.
Yes, correct. LED comma low. So before running the program, I request everyone to check if the syntax is proper. By syntax, I mean that if the semicolons are mentioned.
Can you please
properly.
wait? Actually, I need
Yes,
to
yes.
write this line.
I'm not running the program right now. I'm just telling
Okay.
that you need to check the syntax before running the program. You need to check whether all the semicolons are perfectly placed and all the commands are right. Please inform once you are done with writing the program.
Done.
Done.
Okay. Ankit, are you done?
I'm just left
Done.
with one line actually.
So now I'll run the program. Okay. So you just need to click on start simulation.
Wait. Okay.
But it's nothing difficult in that. You just need to click on the
Can you
start
show
simulation.
the code again? There's something
Yeah,
wrong.
Yeah, once again, can you just display it once?
Yeah, sure. I'll stop the simulation.
Swam, it is showing error in my code.
Yeah,
same for me.
please check that
Code,
have you written everything correctly or not.
I think I have.
All the semicolons are there. Sometimes you do mistakes in
It's working
writing.
just fine.
It's
In
case
my
sensitive.
code, it's showing stimulation time and it's been 8 seconds. What should I do?
Yeah. Just okay. You have started the simulation, right?
Yes.
So now just click on this button. So when you click on the button, the LED is high, and when you will leave the button, the LED switches.
Okay.
Swam, can I just share my screen for a second?
Can you please show the code?
Yeah, I am sure. You copy paste your code in the chat box.
Shall I just
Prateek.
copy paste the code in the chat box?
Yes, please, you can do so. I'll check the code in the chat box.
My bulb is blinking.
Yeah, that's nice. Who is it? Can I know your name?
Yes, I'm Sitakshi.
Okay, nice, Satakshi. Okay, Prateek.
Mine's working just fine.
Yeah, it's working.
What do we have to do after starting the simulation?
Yeah, just click on the button now. You'll get the output as high or low.
Yeah, mine too. It's blinking.
Okay, nice.
The error was showing in digital right LED high.
Digital right.
LED high, like
Digital right is equal to. Why is there a is equal to button?
Okay.
Or the please remove it. So it will be digital right only LED comma high. Ankit.
Yeah.
Ankit, are you also
Yeah, it
having
worked.
some error?
Yeah, actually, I'm having error.
Let me check. Your LED pin number is wrong. You have written constant LED 1, 2. It should be 12, and after that there should be a semicolon.
Okay.
Rest all is yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, rest all is correct. Yes. Atindro, your code is.
It works fine.
It works
So I'm
right.
like-
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. It works fine. Okay then. So is everybody done with this code?
Yeah, please demonstrate it on your device.
It's taking a long time for me actually.
Yeah, that means either your device would be like a bit slow, or you would have some network issues, something like that. Linkeshwar B.
Is there a way to save this so that?
Yeah, you can download it from here. See, there's a download button, right? So the code will be downloaded in .ino extension.
No, when we go back, will this be saved in our account automatically?
Yes, automatically. Each line you write, it automatically gets saved in your account. You don't need to
How do I
externally
review
save.
it back? If I have to see it
I'll
again.
tell. See, click on the Tinkercad logo. It will take you back to your normal layout, right? Now you can see here the project which we have done right now, right? It's for me it's some strange name, but for you it would be something else. So now you would click on that, and now you will click on Tinker this. So when you will click on Tinker this, it will again take you to the circuit.
So shall I share my screen? Actually, it's taking a long time for the simulation.
So like, is the simulation working? Like
Yeah, it's working, but it's taking 39 seconds.
So you need to click on the button, right? If you won't click, how will the LED get switched on?
No, I'm clicking.
You are clicking
Where
on
is
the.
the download
You
option
can press
again?
it. You can press it for a longer time so they can see it.
Yeah, I'll do so. See, here is the download button.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Now, see, I'll click on the button. Oh, wait, let me start this image. Yeah, see. Okay, so I've clicked the button right now. So the LED is high. Okay, now I'll leave the button. So the LED is low.
In my code, the download option is not showing.
You need to stop the simulation for that.
Swam,
Yes.
if we have to blink the light for a longer period of time, then we will just add the delay option.
No, delay is not used for that. Delay is used for delaying the program. It is
Okay.
if you want to blink the light for longer period of time, keep pressing the button for longer period of time.
No. I'm talking about the code part. What should I change in my code to blink it for a longer time?
Like you need to blink it till infinite time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you do is here you in place of in place of low you write high. So it will be continuously high only during the till the end of the.
Okay.
Till you don't you don't intercept the program. It will be high only.
Swam, can you please check it once if I share my screen?
I do not know if it's favorable or not. Let me ask. Madhur bhai, are you there?
Yeah.
So should he share the screen?
I think who is this actually? Is this Linkeshwar?
Ankit.
Ankit, I think it's better if you put your code in the chat box.
Yeah, you please put your code in the chat box. I'll see it one. He's having problem with the simulation, I think so. Yeah, he has already put his code here. Okay. Ankit, now is it working?
Simulation is taking long time. Can you? That's why I'm saying that. Can I share my screen once?
Okay, then wait till the end of the session. While after the end, when I'll be clearing all the doubts, you please share your screen then.
Okay, thank you.
It'll be fine. Okay. So now we are done with this program. Now I'll again go back to the PPT, and I'll be telling you in brief about one other program. So has anyone here heard about a photoresistor?
Yeah.
Yes.
So can you tell what is it?
When we shine a light on the sensor, when we shine the light on the sensor, it automatically interprets it and sends the signal to the computer.
It's a part of a solid state relay actually.
Yeah, correct. So
the resistance of photoresistor will decrease if we increase the intensity of the incident light.
Yes, exactly.
Work with respect to luminosity.
Yes, exactly. So what is the other name of photoresistor?
LDR.
Yes, correct.
LDR.
Yeah, so it is a light dependent resistor. So you must have learned about semiconductors, right? So LDR is made up of a semiconductor material only.
Yes.
So can anybody tell the structure of semiconductor, like just in brief? What parts does it have? There are two bands, right? What are the name of those bands?
Conduction band and valence band.
Yeah, and before I throw light on the semiconductor, which part has electrons and which part has holes?
Valence band
has electrons.
Yes, valence band has electrons and conduction band has holes, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So now I am putting light on the semiconductor material. That means I am providing photons, which is greater than the band gap energy between the valence band and the conduction band. So now what will happen?
Electrons
will move from valence
exactly.
band to conduction.
Now if the electrons jump from valence band to conduction band, that means a circuit is established and current will start flowing, right? Because there is movement of electrons, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So hence this is the only use of or the working of photoresistor. So if the as more and more light is displayed on the photoresistor, the more and more current starts flowing, and hence the resistance of the device decreases, as Ankit already mentioned it, that the resistance decreases, and hence the LDR detects whether there is sufficient amount of light in room or not. So has anyone here heard about the automatic lighting systems?
Yes.
Yes.
Like people nowadays in their homes prefer using automatic lighting systems.
Yeah.
Just like if anybody uses iPhone here, then it also has this function that if you go to a brighter room, it will automatically change your brightness, and if you come to a darker room, it will automatically
it happens.
check your brightness, right?
Laser-based security systems are also based on this.
It happens in Android as well.
Yeah, like
It happens in Samsung as well.
I'm sorry about that. I don't know, but actually I'm an iOS user, so that's why I'm mentioning it. So it happens in Android as well. So the main function in the automatic home lighting system, the main part which we use is an LDR. So if you enter a room, curtains are on, So there is no light in the room, so automatically the room lights get switched on because the LDR detects that there is no light, no photons are falling into it, so resistance is high, hence there is no light in the room, and hence the room lights are switched on. But as and when you open the curtains, the LDR detects that okay, the sufficient amount of sunlight is entering into the room, hence the resistance of the LDR decreases, and thus you can see that the lights automatically get switched off. So is everybody clear about photoresistor now?
Yeah.
All those who didn't know?
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'll be making one more project with this. So the project is known as a light adaptive circuit. Basically what I was explaining, instead of the room lights, I'll be using an LED. So the photoresistor, the value of photoresistor will be varied, and accordingly the LED will show its output. Okay. So again, I'm writing the algorithm or the pseudocode. So so it will be easy for you to understand how the flow of the program would be. So the first part will be, as usual, we'll be using the Arduino Uno R3. Then what we'll do is we'll connect the photoresistor to Arduino using a breadboard, right? Is everybody clear that we'll always use a breadboard for the projects because it's easier to connect? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can't we use another?
What can't we use?
Means instead of breadboard, can't we use some other I can say other stuff we can't use?
Like
as
what
someone asked.
other stuff are you talking about? Because breadboard is one of the most basic electronic device which you use for connections, right? There is no replacement for breadboard as of now.
Okay.
So I'll be using a breadboard. Then I'll be reading the value of the photoresistor through the Arduino, and then I'll be printing it in the serial monitor. I told you what is the function of serial monitor, right? Can anybody tell me what is a serial monitor?
It displays the LED.
Yeah, like it displays, but that is a very basic thing. I told you something very important about a serial monitor. Like, why is it used for? What is the most important thing about it? Okay, so I'll tell you, it is used for directly communicating with the Arduino board. Okay, means you can give inputs to the serial monitor from your laptop, and it will be directly implemented in the Arduino board. Okay, is everyone getting it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I'll be reading value from photoresistor and printing it in the serial monitor. So it will be easier for you to know, okay, that in if the light is coming, if the light is like it is a brighter in the room, then the value of photoresistor will be high, and then we don't need the LEDs to be switched on. If the value is low, we need the LEDs to be switched on. So for that, the value will be printed in the serial monitor accordingly. Then again, there will be two conditions. So here I have taken value as 600, but it can be anything ranging from 0 to 1023. So the value I have taken, the threshold value as 600. So again, can anyone tell me what condition I'm using here? What command I'm going to use?
If else.
Okay, exactly. I'll be using the if else statement. So if the value is less than 600, that means less light in the room, hence LED is on, resistance is high. If the value is greater than 600, there is like the room is quite bright, LED is off, and hence the resistance is low. Okay, so is everybody clear?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so now again I'll be moving to the Tinkercad part. So again we'll create a new circuit from this button. Please tell me if everybody has created a new circuit.
How to exit our ongoing subprogram?
Yeah, just click on this Tinkercad logo. You will go back to the main page.
We have to click on circuits only.
Create new circuit, yes.
There is no component for monitor in it.
Serial monitor.
Yeah.
It will come. It will come. It will come. Just wait for it. I'll show. Okay. So now again, I'll be choosing the basic components. Please, everybody, choose all the basic components. That is Arduino Uno, R3. I'll be mentioning it here. Then I'll be using the breadboard. Then I'll be using a photoresistor. And again, you can connect photoresistor according to your wish. You can connect it here, or you can connect it here. You can even connect it here. It's your wish. I'm connecting it here. Then I'll use an LED here. Again, a resistor for controlling the current. And I'll rotate it. Okay. So please tell me if everybody is done till here.
Yeah. It's done.
Yes.
Okay. So now I'll be taking another resistor which will be connected to the photoresistor. So the main function of the resistor which we are connecting to the LED is that it is current limiting, right? It limits the current which is going to the LED.
Yes.
So I'll take another resistor connected to the photoresistor. So the main function of this resistor is that it will control the sensitivity of the photoresistor. Like these sensors are very sensitive, right? So to control the sensitivity of a particular device, I am also using a resistor in this case.
Excuse me, what is
Yes.
the name of the component which you first used
Photoresist.
instead of photoresist?
Yes, photoresistor.
Are we connecting the resistor to the negative terminal?
What? No, we aren't connecting. I'll rotate it. Wait. I'll keep it like this, okay? Please don't connect this terminal to any other port. This will be connected now. I'll show you the exact connection. So is everybody done till here?
Yes.
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 Okay, now I'll be moving further. So now we'll make the connections, okay? So the photoresistor is an analog device, okay? Like it will be sending analog signals to the Arduino board. You know the difference between digital and analog signals, right? Mahek already
Yes.
mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yes, nice. So the photoresistor is an analog device, so I'll be connecting it to the analog pins.
Can you zoom
Can
a
anybody
little?
tell? Yeah,
Can you zoom a little bit?
yeah, sure. Is it visible now?
Yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So can anybody tell me where are the analog pins in the given Arduino board?
A0 to
On the
A5.
bottom.
Yeah, A0 to A5. Yeah, absolutely correct. So I'll be connecting the photoresistor to pin number A0 from the. And now I'll be again connecting. So as you can see here above the analog pins, there are some power pins here. You can see, right? There are some
Yes.
power pins which mentions ground, 5 volt, 3.3 volt, reset, and IO-REF. That is one another power pin. So I'll be connecting ground to one rail here. This rail, let's say, and I'll be connecting the. Now for the functioning of photoresistor, we need another voltage source, right? For example, if you are using a motor with Arduino, you need to control the motor, right? For running the motor, you need some amount of voltage, right?
Yes.
So from where will I get the voltage? From these
5
power
volt.
pins. Yes, tell.
Your voltage point. Like
Yeah, the 5 volt
5
pin.
volt.
Okay, so I'll be using the 5 volt pin and I'll be connecting to this rail. So has everybody done?
Yeah.
Ankit.
Yeah, done, but can you
Akansha.
explain the last one?
Yeah. So what I'm doing is For example, if you are using a motor, okay, motor is an external device, right? You are using a motor with the Arduino. So now for running the motor, you need some voltage, right? You can't run it directly through the Arduino. You need some external voltage to run the motor, right? So what I'll be doing is, I'll be using the power pins of the Arduino board, that is the 5-volt pin, and I'll be connecting it through this rail. So now can anybody tell me what this rail and this rail is?
Yeah, the positive one is for the ground one and the negative one is for 5-volt.
Yeah, so this whole rail acts as a 5 voltage now, right?
Yeah.
And this whole rail acts as ground.
Excuse me.
Yes.
So we will connect the resistor to 5-volt.
Wait, Pratik, please let Atindra ask first.
I had a minor doubt. Actually, in the last program that we did, we did not need, we didn't need to connect it to the 5 volts. But why are we doing it right now?
Yeah, I told you we are using one external device, that is the photoresistor, right? It needs some amount of voltage to run. That is why we are using
LED is not.
LED can be run by the voltage with the Arduino gives. Like with the current, with the circuit which the Arduino makes, the amount of current.
How do I know what amount of voltage the Arduino can provide?
Yeah, it is written here, right? 5 volt and 3.3 volt. If you connect it to 5 volt, you are getting a voltage of 5 volt.
So what is the default voltage that Arduino provides without connecting it to any of the terminals?
Like there is no as such default voltage. I'm talking about current, right? LED needs some particular amount of current, right? If the current is large, LED will burst. Okay. So the amount of current which LED requires, that can be given by the Arduino.
All right.
Okay. But for running the photoresistor, you need to connect it to the alternate.
Understand.
Got it. Yes, Pratik.
Yeah, I was just asking that now we will connect the resistor to the 5-volt.
Yeah, no, wait, I'll do that.
Sure.
I think Akansha was asking something.
Yeah, once can you just repeat if 5-volt is to be connected to the positive terminal or the negative terminal?
Yeah, so for here I've connected to the ground to the positive one. Like it doesn't matter, okay? You can connect it to anyone.
Okay.
It will be fine if you connect 5 volt to positive and ground to negative, or vice versa is also possible.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So now I'll be doing the further connection.
And why are you using the second resistor? Can you please explain?
Yeah, please. I have already explained this. Can someone tell him why I am using the second resistor?
To control the sensitivity.
Components are quite sensitive for that high voltage.
Yeah, exactly. So I am using the resistor to control the sensitivity of that device. Yeah, Ankit, did you get it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, to control the sensitivity, I am using that resistor. Now, can someone please tell me the connections of LED? Like, how should I do the connections? I need to connect it to pin number 8. Let's say I need to connect it to pin number 8. So what should I do now?
Connect the cathode part into pin number 8.
This I should connect to pin number 8.
Yeah.
No, for
Are you
ground.
sure?
No, the anode.
That should go for the ground.
Toward the ground.
Yeah, that's correct. It will
Okay,
go for
then,
the ground.
Yeah, then resistor will be connected to the
Resistor, this point, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll connect it to pin number 8.
Right.
Yep, it's correct. And then I'll be connecting the. I've already connected the photoresistor to A0, right? Have you done that?
Yes.
Yes. So now we know that every device is required to be connected to the ground. So this terminal of the photoresistor will be connected to the ground.
Somewhere it is written -12 and -11, and once it is written 12, what's the meaning between plus and minus?
No, it's not minus. It's the tilde sign. See, my friend Mahek, she was explaining about PWM, right? Pulse width modulation. Were you present during that time? She was explaining about PWM. So what does this tilde signs do? It says that these pins are available for PWM output.
Okay.
Like you can use it for both purposes. Okay, you can use it either for the normal thing or also for the PWM output. But for PWM, only the pin number 3, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11. These pins can be used. Okay.
So like variable voltages can be conducted by them.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. So
The photoresistor should go to the ground, right?
yeah, it will go to the ground through the resistor. Yeah. I'm sorry. Okay, and then the photoresistor will be connected to the 5 voltage source like this. Okay, did you get it? Is everybody clear with the connections?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Prateek, Gaurav, Aryan, Akansha.
Yes.
Is everybody
All
clear?
clear.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now the connections are done. Now we'll write the code. Again, we'll select text, continue. So again, please remove this. This is the basic. So has everybody opened the code editor?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So now I'll be writing the code. So what should I write above void setup?
Constant and
The constants, what pin we are doing.
pin number 8. Okay, LED.
LED should be connected. LED is connected to pin number 8, right?
Yeah.
And the photoresistor is connected to pin number. I'll name it as LDR. Okay, they both are the same. A0. And again, we are going to use an if-else condition, right?
Excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why aren't we like declaring the LDR as a constant?
Yeah, it's your choice. If you don't want to declare it as constant, it's also fine.
All right.
It's not going to change the value during the execution of the program, right? So it's
Yes.
better if you mention, and it will work fine only if you don't mention constant to it.
All right.
Okay. So now again we are going to use the if-else condition. So should I declare a variable here or should I move to the void setup function?
Declare a variable.
Okay. So I'll declare some variable. Let me name as value, which will have 0 as its parent value. Okay, so is everybody fine with it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So now I'll write the void setup. So what is the basic command of void setup?
Oh. Pin mode.
Yeah. Correct. So what will I write in pin mode? That is LED comma output, right? Is it correct? It's correct, right?
Yeah.
So now I told you that we are going to use the serial monitor for this program. Like the values will be displayed in the serial monitor of the photoresistor, correct?
Yes.
So I need to turn on the serial monitor. Which command should I use? I told this while explaining the basic commands.
Digital read.
Like read.
No. How can I use read command for switching on the serial monitor? Yeah.
Fair enough.
The serial
Can anybody?
begin?
Yes, exactly. It's serial.begin. So serial.begin, and I told you that there are some fixed values that are the integral multiples of 4800, and one of the
Yes.
very most fixed values is the 9600, right?
Yeah.
So I'll be using serial.begin 9600. So I'm writing this command in void setup because this command is to be run only once during the execution. Once you write serial.begin, this means the program, the serial monitor is on, and it will run till the end of the simulation. Okay.
What does 9600 signify?
Signifies the baud rate of the serial monitor. I told you, right? The Arduino sends the data rate in bits per second to serial data for transmission. That is known as the baud rate. 9600 defines the baud rate.
What happens if we change the baud rate in this?
Yeah, you can change it. You can change it to 4800, 9600. There will be no difference as such. Like either the data transmission will be slow or fast. depending
Okay,
on the
so
steps.
so in complicated circuits, we use the higher.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So is everybody done for the void setup part function?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now I'll be writing the code for the void loop area. Again, we need to store some value in the variable value, right? Wait, I'll change the name of this variable, else it will be very confusing. I name it as var. That's right. So we need to give some value to the variable, right? So
Yes.
the value is coming from which device?
Photoresistor.
Exactly. So what command should I use to get the values from the photoresistor?
The read one.
Yes, perfect. Analog read. See why I am using analog read here, because I told you, right? The photoresistor gives analog signals, and it is also connected to the Arduino analog pin number A0, right?
Yes.
So I'll be using analog read function here to get the values from photoresistor. Okay. So analog read of LDR.
Will we not define it first in the void setup?
What? This LDR, right?
Yeah.
No. See, tell me one thing. Is LDR giving any input or output to the circuit?
No.
No, right? It's only storing its output into a variable, which is to be displayed again and again in the serial monitor, right?
Yes, yes.
So if I use the word again and again, this means it needs to be mentioned in the void loop area, because it is to be mentioned. Yeah, you got it, right?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. So I'll be using analog read. Then again I'll be like, this is some basic command. If you want to do, you can do. This is for just for mentioning that LDR value is. So what will this command do? For example, for before each value, which will be printed in serial monitor, it will show the LDR value is. So will not be confused. Okay, basically after, for example, if the LDR is printing value 54, then it is printing 36. So what will be the output in serial monitor? The LDR value is 54, then again LDR value is then 36. Okay. Is everybody clear with that?
Yes. Yes.
And can someone tell me the difference between serial.print and serial.println? I had mentioned it while
Print means it just prints that on the screen.
Ellen skips a
Yeah,
line
please,
and
please,
Ellen
please tell one by one. Yeah, Nidhi, you were saying something, please continue.
Yeah, and println will be having at the end a next line character, like the next one will be printed in the next line.
Yes, exactly.
In just print, we don't have that option.
Exactly, that is absolutely correct. So for that convenience, I'm using serial.println. Okay, either it or else if I use serial.print, it will be confusing because all the values will be printed in the same line. Okay, so
Same line or next line?
Same line.
Same line.
The serial.println adds a new line character at the end. Okay, who asked this question? Prateek, right?
Yeah.
You are clear, right? So
Yeah.
again, I'll be.
In ln, the value will be in the same line, and in print, it will be on the.
No. In ln, it will be in the next line.
Okay.
See, basically, just remember it like this. ln means print ln, right? So ln, if you reverse it, nl means new line.
Yeah, sure.
Like there is no analogy behind it. I'm just saying something that I got into them.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So
I
you
had
can
the same
remember.
idea, but like according to discussion, it was like opposite. Like you guys
So
discussed.
I thought you got confused because we discussed only that println, like Nidhi also told, right? That println gives the value in new line.
No. They thought it is ln is for the same line. Anyways, now we are clear.
Yeah. So again, now we'll be now I have again used serial.println to print the value. Oh no, it's no more value. It's var. Okay. So again, I'll be using the if-else condition. We know we need to check whether the value which is coming as the output from photoresistor is less than a threshold value or not. Okay. So if var is less than 600, I'm again repeating. You can select any threshold output you want. Okay. For example, you want to check it for 500. So instead of 600, you can mention here 500. Okay. That is your choice.
What is the unit of 500?
This is 600. This is the output which is given by the photoresistor. There's no unit. Like, this is not science, right? Everything doesn't have a unit here. Okay, are you clear?
It's a differential voltage, you can say, that with respect to 5 volts, what is the value we are getting from a range of 0 to 1023.
Yeah, 1023.
Yeah, because the ADC, which is in the analog pins of the Arduino, it has a 10-bit ADC. So that is 2 to the power 10, 1024 values. So for 0 to 5 volts, you will get a range of 0 to 1023. So this VAR variable is getting that value, which is a differential voltage.
Okay, thanks.
So I'll be using first the condition if the value of variable is greater than 600. Okay. So we know that if the value is greater than 600, we will write to the LED. We know that there is sufficient light in the room, so we'll write to the LED to be switched off. Okay, is everybody clear?
Yes.
Yes, Prateek, Ankit,
Yeah,
Ajindro,
it's clear.
Akansha, you're not replying now.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Is that clear, right? So,
Yes.
so LED will be low if the value is greater than
Yeah.
600.
Yeah.
And if for the else condition, it will be high. Else means it is less than 600.
In that case, the value will be less than 600. Do we
600,
need
correct.
to mention that condition?
No, we don't need to. If else is used for this. If you once mention the command if and you mention what condition you are using, then else automatically takes its opposite. There is no need to mention that else if you take less than 600. It's not needed. So this is the program. Okay, so has everybody written the code?
Yeah, we have.
Yes.
Yes.
How to write actually?
How to write using your keyboard?
Just a minute, I will copy it. Give me some time.
Yeah, should I put the code in the chat box? I think it will be better.
Can you put it in the chat box?
Yeah.
I have started the simulation, so
Yeah, just
what
wait.
do I do?
Just wait for
All
a
right,
second.
all right,
Please,
all right.
everybody come. Let everybody complete.
So will you send the recording in the? How will you send the recording?
Yes,
The
don't worry,
recording
guys. We will be sending the recording. We will have it uploaded on our YouTube channel, and we will share all the details at the end of the session. So you need not worry about it. And also, for all the people who are registered for the 2CC course under IET, I will be sharing an attendance form right now. Please fill the form.
Okay, so has everybody written the code now?
Where was the registration for that particular course?
No, it's only for the second years. It's not for you now. When
Okay.
you will come in the second year, you need to select the extra credit.
I submitted the form, I guess.
No, you don't. Oh,
No, that's all right.
Mother Bhaiya, please take.
If we registered in SW events, doesn't that count?
Yeah, that's right. You don't need to take tension about this form.
This is only for the second years.
Yeah, sure,
For the
okay.
second years.
Okay.
The forms
Okay.
for just for the second years, right?
Yes, correct.
All right.
So has everybody written the code?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start the
Yeah.
simulation now. Let me
Actually,
check.
I'm filling the form, so please wait.
No, you don't need to fill. Only for second years.
I'm in second year only.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, please tell me when you are done.
Do we need to give our VIT mail ID?
Ankit, have you registered for the course of IIT?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, okay then. Yeah, you have to give your thing.
I'm
Your
in mechanical
VIT
branch
mail ID.
actually.
Yeah, your VIT mail ID for it.
Yeah.
So Ankit, I'm starting the simulation now.
Okay.
Okay. So
where's the attendance link?
yeah, can you repeat?
Where is the attendance link?
Actually, you're not audible. Please type it in the
It's
chat
in the
box.
chat box, Akash. That's It's only for the second year. So register for the 2cc course under IET.
Oh, thank you. Got it.
Okay. So everybody has written the code, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we'll start the simulation. I don't think there is any error. Started, right? So you need to
Yeah.
click on the. Oh wait, you need you can see the values in the serial monitor from here. Just click on it. Okay. This is the value of LDR currently. Everybody can see values in the serial monitor.
Yeah, we can.
It might not
Yes.
be same. Okay, it can be any value. 6, 5, 4.
But I'm getting 0 as a value.
Yeah, it is possible. It is because you now if you click on the photoresistor, you can vary the photoresistor value from here, the input value. Okay, the brightness.
Mine is 1023.
Yeah, so now you just vary the value. Okay, now you see the LDR value is 439, right? So once the LDR value is 439, the LED is switched on. This means that there is not enough lighting in the room. Okay, is everybody getting it?
I'm
Could you please repeat your last statement?
Lighting.
Could you please repeat your last statement?
Yeah, see, what I am getting LDR value is 439, right?
Okay.
Now what threshold value I have chosen? I have chosen 600, right? So 439 is less than 600. That means there is not enough lighting in the room, so the LED is switched on. Okay. Aryan, are you clear?
Yes.
Yeah. Akansha, you are asking something?
How do I increase it? I don't see the option.
Yeah, you click on the photoresistor. See, you click on the photoresistor, you will get this slide bar. Then you
Okay.
can just vary the values from here, okay?
Like,
Okay.
I'm sliding the slide bar, but my LDR value is not changing.
So they
My
might,
bulb,
yeah,
my bulb is not lighting up. So there
there
is no
might be
error.
a bulb is not lightning up above 600, right?
Yeah, I wrote 500.
Okay, 500. So it's not lightning above 500, right?
It's not lighting up at all.
At all. So there might be a problem in a connection then.
Okay.
You send your code once in the chat box, I'll review that also. Or else I'll put this screenshot of the connection also in the chat box so that you can check whether it's correct or not.
Yeah, please do all these things, screenshot
Yeah,
and all.
yeah, I'll do.
I
Okay,
guess
so now the
problem in connection only.
So the LDR value is 497 and the LED is on. Now I'll vary it more. I'll take it above 600. Okay, so now the value is 601. So it's above 600, that is the threshold value. So now the LED is switched off. Okay. So this, like, we have successfully made a light adapter circuit. So for how many people is it running? Can you please?
Mine is perfect.
Mine is
Yeah,
Chalo,
it's
nice.
good for me.
Nice, Pratik.
I
Nice.
sent my code. Will you check it?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
still not.
I'm checking now.
The thing is, I tried, increasing the brightness. I don't see any change in the number.
You don't see any change in the LDR
Yeah, it
value?
worked.
I guess the circuit is
Yeah.
wrong in your case.
Yeah, that will be the only thing I think. So, like, vary it for, like, slide it to the end and see what value is coming, and then again take it towards the middle and then see what value is coming.
Okay, I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Sometimes registers or the jumper wires are not connected in the current point, so you can verify it.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Oh wait. Yeah, tell.
So I just posted the code showing some error.
Yeah, wait, I'm checking Shatakshi's code now. Just give me a minute. Yeah, Shatakshi, your code is correct. I don't think there is any error in it.
I found my error in the connection.
Okay.
Actually, the resistor and LED is like 1 unit different.
Okay. So now the circuit is working, right?
I'm correcting it, then I'll tell you.
Yeah, okay, sure. Atindro serial.println. Yeah. Atindru, are you there?
I have also sent you the code. Please check.
Oh, where is it?
Showing an error in the if and else part.
Yeah, because you haven't put a semicolon after the serial.println LDR statement. I told you, na, you need to check for the semicolons.
Okay.
So just, and Ankit, where is the code? I can't see it.
Wait. Yes,
Nice.
I
Yes, sir.
copy it again for you.
Yeah, please.
I checked. I missed a semicolon. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Now it's working?
Ankit, I think even you missed a semicolon after the analog read statement. There's a serial print line, right? LDR value is. Over there, you missed a
I
semicolon.
have sent you the code. Please check.
Yeah. Yeah, serial.println, you missed a semicolon. After
Okay.
serial.println, LDR value is.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So now, like, for most of you, the code is working, right?
Yeah, it's working now.
Yeah.
I need
Yes.
the ground touch.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So now I'll show you some of the projects which me and Mahek have developed in 1 year of our college. So one basic project which I did was analyzing volumetric changes in oxygen cylinders using ultrasonic sensor. So as you can see, I developed a circuit at my home only. I have the Arduino board, hardware board with me, and I have all the components. I have used an ultrasonic sensor here. So what does ultrasonic sensor do is it detects the distance between the sensor and the object. For example, you must have seen that. Okay, let me tell you one thing. There is, for example, you make a robot. Okay, you make an autonomous robot, and you leave the robot in a track. So if you leave the robot in a track, and if it sees an obstacle, it will automatically stop in front of the obstacle, right? Has anybody seen that type of robot?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it uses an ultrasonic sensor to detect the obstacle is at which distance. Okay. So if the obstacle is closer to the robot automatically stops, as the distance between the sensor and the obstacle is too low. Is it clear?
Self-driving cars.
Yeah, you are talking about Tesla, right?
Swayam.
Yeah.
But that uses LiDAR, I think.
LiDAR. Tesla uses LiDAR, exactly.
Excuse me, Swayam.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a doubt. Like in your project, what will it show if you have different diameter beakers? Like it must be programmed for a certain type of beakers, right? But what if I
No,
take?
no. There is no dependency on that. It's not dependent on the diameter of the beaker at all.
Can you explain it how?
Yeah, see, I'll tell you how this project works. See, you can see there is an ultrasonic sensor, right?
Yeah.
So what does it do? You can see there is some amount of water filled, and there are 4 LEDs: the green, white, yellow, and red LEDs, right?
Yeah.
So what does it do if the water is too low in the beaker? I have taken some predefined values. Okay.
Yeah.
Let us say the distance between the tip of the ultrasonic sensor and the water is some X centimeters.
Okay.
Okay. Now the X centimeter is like somewhere here in the beaker. Okay. The water is here.
Mm-hmm.
So it will blink the green LED, mentioning that the tank is empty and you need to refill it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm adding the water. So now the value is increasing from X to X plus 1, 2, 3. I'm increasing the values. Okay. So as the water comes closer to the ultrasonic sensor, the light, different LEDs start glowing. Okay. If it's the closest to a ultrasonic sensor, red LED glows. And if it's far away from ultrasonic sensor, the green LED glows.
Yeah. Okay. I thought you were calculating the volume of that.
No. So basically, you must have seen that when a serious patient is admitted in hospital, okay, they use drips, glucose drips, or some drips are needed for the for their treatment, right? So what happens when they use a drip? The nurse needs to come and check in continuously that okay whether the drip is empty or she needs to change the next drip, right? So what the technology can contribute towards it is that they can use this kind of project. Okay, they can install some sensor in close radius to the drip. Okay, so and the LEDs will be installed outside the room. So the ultrasonic sensor will automatically detect the amount of drip which is left in the bottle. So accordingly, the LEDs will glow, and the nurse can know from outside only. For example, if the green LED is switched on, that means okay, the drip is about to empty. She needs to change, and if it's the red one, then she knows that okay, the drip is full. She does not need to change for the moment.
I don't think it is
why
practically
can't
applicable.
What?
Sam, I don't think it is practically applicable, right? The thing you are talking about, the bottles that are used in hospitals, then how will you include that sensor inside that bottle? Will not it contaminate?
Yeah,
the-
exactly. See, I'm not telling that this same project can be implemented there.
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
idea. This is basically one idea. Okay. Even this project, it needs to be altered more to make it perfect.
Right.
This is very sensitive, right? Because you are using a basic ultrasonic sensor. So
Mhm.
if the values are like some plus minus 1, maybe again there is a difference. So that means different LEDs can glow.
One thing that came into my mind is like in our societies, there are different tanks.
Yeah.
So we can use it over there. Like if it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So one project, this is made by Mehak. She will explain now.
So I made a rain detecting project. Basically, I use a rain water sensor here. So any presence of water around the sensor will ring the alarm present here. This is basically used in the farming sector because in certain places there's scarcity of water. So even a small presence of water around the sensor will take the aluminum present in the sensor will detect the presence of water, and the alarm will trigger. So the other project also has a similar application. I just use ultrasonic sensor here. So these are the two projects which I had done in my first year. So with these, all those what we shared, we come to the end of the session. And in the chat section, I have shared the Instagram channel as well as the YouTube channel where we will be uploading the entire session. It has been recorded and it will be uploaded in the YouTube channel. And I have also shared a feedback form, your like whatever you felt about the session, any improvement, or if you liked it, it will be great if you mention it in the feedback form. It will be amazing to know your thoughts. And to be honest, we are really very excited about our juniors. You were really great, very interactive, and it was a very nice session to interact with you all. And I hope this session was helpful and you got to know many new things. You got a wider idea how to explore new things, and you got to know new terms. And I hope this will be helpful for you all in the further classes, and not classes, in your further expedition in school, in college.